Your open door policy is all cap and your team knows it. Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about it. Why your team won't tell you the truth. The illusion of openness. How many times have you heard this or said this? I have an open door policy. Whatever you need, come to my office. Let's talk about it. Let's get it taken care of. In my almost 10-year military career, I heard this often. That was always on a new commander's radar, was to make sure that we knew as an organization that he or she had an open door policy. And how many times do you think that I observed that so-called open door policy to actually be the truth? One time. Yes, one time. There was one commander I had in my military career who actually meant it. When he said open door policy, he actually meant it. And guess what? His door was always open. Not only was his door literally always open, but I could walk in anytime. This was the most down to earth, real one I have ever met. And I still remember him because of that. That was a great example of, as I mentioned in my previous video about the leadership lie, this was a perfect example of that influence being earned. That commander earned it, full stop. He knew my name. He knew my husband's name, my kids' names, everybody in the shop. He would always come around when he was available to come talk to us, check on us. That's what it's about. At least that's what it should be about. And he delivered. And so I wanted to start with that story because I want you to take some time to think about it for your organization. If you are in a position of leading a team, or if it's, you're a founder or CEO of a business, think about that. How are you showing up for your people? When you say you have an open door policy, do you actually mean it? And are you ready for somebody to walk through that door? Because it's one thing to say it, and it's an entirely different thing when your people walk through that door. Are you ready to help them and give them whatever it is that they need? So again, a lot of leaders, as I said, always talk about their door being open. But when you walk through that door, if you even feel comfortable to do so, you'll have some members of your team that have been very disillusioned with previous leadership, either at the organization they're at right now or a previous organization. And so even when they hear the phrase open door policy, they're like, yeah, right. Sure. I'm not going to be talking to so-and-so about any issues that I have. Right? And this is because they have experienced, if they do decide to walk through that open door, the body language is different, reactions, and the follow through, feeling that whatever grievances or concerns that they have are being quickly dismissed or belittled, right? That tells a completely different story, and it sticks with your people, with your team. The subtle punishment. What is this subtle punishment? Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Kind of like that passive aggressive reprisal, that retaliation, the eye roll, the dismissiveness that I mentioned just a moment ago. When team members have a concern or new ideas. In the previous video, I talked about how the performative leadership stifles creativity and innovation within your team. We've already tried that, or we'll circle back to that. We'll look into it. We'll check on it. The delayed response. Your people are watching. Or the meeting that you're leading, or one of your management is leading, and you or them are explaining why the idea isn't going to be explored, right? Why whatever issue that they have, we can't really do that right now. We have to tread lightly, or it's really complicated. What were if you were on the flip side of that? How would that feel for you in their position? And this is something that when you are in a leadership position is so important to think about. If you were on the other side of that desk, how would you feel? What's what would you want the open door policy to feel like? What would you want that dialogue, that conversation to feel like? How would you want to walk away with that issue being resolved, or your idea being seriously taken into consideration, not just a piece of paper in the suggestions box? So, what's the cost of your team not trusting, not trusting the environment, and knowing that the open door policy is just all cap? What's the cost? Bad information, and that creates bad decisions because the data is not there, the accurate data, the accurate information, because they're going to keep it within themselves. And this also creates a strain within your management, your frontline supervisors, your mid level managers, because the teams are going to be coming to them, right? The lower level teams are going to be coming to them, and that creates a bottleneck within the leadership that you cannot afford. This is how you have fragmented communication within teams, within departments, is because of the lack of that real culture that says when we say the door is open, we mean it. Come to us. Again, and you're going to hear me say this a lot when we continue to have these conversations about leadership. It's that it's one thing to say it, but doing it is an entirely different thing. So, what else is attached to this real cost? Problems fester until they explode. And then what happens? You say, or whoever is above you says, "Oh, well, what happened? We didn't have eyes on this." Well, you didn't have eyes on it because everyone was afraid to talk about it. How many times have you heard this? How many times have we seen this publicly within organizations where it's a huge scandal, where there was just something that was very shocking, that came out? If you were to look back in that organization, you would find that there were fissures, there were cracks that could have been fixed. Issues could have been fixed at their root if the doors of communication were open, if what leadership actually said matched what they were doing. Your best people will walk out of the door, full stop. And we're seeing this. How many companies, and maybe you're seeing this with your organization as well, how many companies are wondering how can we retain talent, especially talent of color, which we will talk about in the next video. But your best people are walking out the door, and they will continue to do so without telling you, because they were tired, because they found better opportunities elsewhere, because they were tired of the structure altogether and just decided to do their own thing. You have to think about, are you here to hire people just to be quiet and follow whatever you say blindly, or do you really want input? Do you really want input to make not only your leadership better, but make your organization better, which will in turn increase your bottom line? You will never decrease your bottom line by having an open door policy. You will never decrease your bottom line by caring about your team. You will accelerate the growth of your organization. You will accelerate profit, everything, okay, by doing what you say you're going to do with your team. Because at the end of the day, that's how the organization exists. It would not exist without the people who help form that organization and keep it running. And that's not something that a lot of people like to talk about. It's just assumed that, you know, people encompass the organization and keep it running. But it's something to really reflect about, especially now, because the competition is stiff. To do what? To keep your people, to keep good people. It's cheaper to keep the good ones than hiring brand new people that you have to train and have to make sure that they have buy in. Why not take care of those who already have buy in? And I'll close with this. Always think about how you would feel on the other side of that desk, on the other side of that Zoom call, the phone call, whatever it is, that email, when it comes to your team. And that's all I have for you today. So, as always, thanks for joining me for this video, and subscribe for more hot takes on leadership, keeping it real over here. And if you want to build a culture where it's safe to tell the truth for your team, for you as a leader, reach out to me. Link is in the description. Till next time, peace.